94.
Yes.
Okay. Look, JR. That's a Supermax security prison. It's called Tehachapi. It's actually in the top 5 of the most violent prisons. I was like, that will do it. The next day, we flew there. We arrived there, and of course, it's not that easy to get there. It's like fences, electric fences, walls, and you add more walls and more people that check your IDs. I get all the way to the yard, and it looked like some army guy with bulletproof,
Bullet.
bullet, bullet,
Bulletproof.
bulletproof, bulletproof jackets and heavily armed who say, all right, this is going to be very simple. There's some people waiting for you in a gymnasium.
Gymnasium. Gymnasium.
Gymnasium. Gymnasium. We gathered some in, inmates.
We gathered some
In,
inmates. So with
inmates.
this transcript is linked below in the description, and it has some vocabulary. If you're not sure, click on the link, go to the definition of an inmate, a person who is kept in a prison or a hospital for people who are mentally ill. But these are
Wow, that's
prisoners.
helpful. Mm,
Thank you.
wow, wow.
Okay, so these are people, these are prisoners. So JR is clearing the clearance. He's going through the walls. He's going through security and he's being checked. And he sees these guards with the bulletproof vests and bulletproof jackets and heavily armed with these rifles and guns. And he's walking into this prison because he's about to do a project with the prisoners. So let's see how it's going to go. Machiko, continue, please.
Yes, yes. You cannot approach them. You cannot touch them. You can sit at the chair that we designed for you, and we are going to surround the area of gymnasium.
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 Nay, nay,
Gymnasium.
hey, hey, gymnasium.
Gymnasium. Gymnasium.
Close. Very good.
That, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna pick up here. I'm gonna read this part. That sounds fun. This is JR talking. He's the photographer. That sounds fun. I enter the room and we do this thing in France because he's French. I don't know if you have that, but you shake people's hands, you know? So I started shaking people's hands. Hello, how are you? My name is JR. What's your name? And go around the table. And then I sat and I spoke with them. A lot of them have been there since they were teenagers. Some of them even from the age of 13. This is a maximum security prison. He's shaking the hands of the inmates. And I've never seen anything like it. And so I told them about my art and about the idea. And they asked me a question. They said, but what is the purpose of your art?
Mhm.
Okay, Machiko.
Yes. Well, that's a good question. I don't know if I can answer before, trying a project. So I explained them an idea, and I said, wait, before we start anything, I just want you to know if there's anyone here in this room that by being in this project, you might offend some of your victims outside. I'm not your guy. I'm going to get too much attention for you. If I were you, don't participate in this project.
Okay, so he's talking to the prisoners about the project. What's his point here, Machiko? Should I read that again or did you follow? Should I read it again?
Yes, I'd like you to read again.
Okay, let's check it out one more time. Paragraph number 8. He's telling the prisoners something about the project. He's kind of laying out the rules and explaining how things are going to go. Okay, so he says, well, that's a good question. They're like, what's the point? So he says, well, that's a good question. I don't know if I can answer that at the beginning of a project. I may not exactly have the full answer. Sometimes you have to do something to understand how it's going to impact that it's going to have. I don't know if I can answer before, trying a project. So I explained them an idea and I said, wait, before we start anything, I just want you to know if there's anyone here in this room that by being in this project, you might offend some of your victims outside. I'm not your guy. I'm going to get you too much attention. I'm going to get too much attention for you. If I were you, don't participate in this project. What you think? What do you think, Machiko? What's he saying?
Are they this listeners, TED Talk listeners lines?
Yes, this is
JR said
JR. This is JR talking to the prisoners. Remember, he's in the prison and he's explaining his project to the prisoners because they're going to participate in his project. And he's telling those prisoners, the inmates, he's telling them something. What is he telling them?
he is talking with prisoners. So if he is JR talks about victims. So if if some prisoner joined his project, then that will offend their victims. JR doesn't want these prisoners to join his project.
That's right. That's his point. He's like, okay, maybe you can decide if you want to participate in this project. Some of them are in prison for murder. Some of them are in prison for violent crimes. You may have been criminally involved with. If they would see you in a big positive project, something that will get a lot of attention and maybe some publicity, maybe it'll be on social media. If they see you and that would enrage them, that would be offensive to them, hurtful to them, then maybe you should not be in this project because it will get attention. It will get the attention of the outside world. So he's saying, if you choose to step away, I respect that. Just step away now. Okay, 6 or 7 guys stood up and left the room. I was like, this is JR talking. He's talking to the prisoners. I was like, all right. So we kept on going and I started photographing them. Very simple. It's just a small part of the process. I'm not really a photographer. That's just one part that I use. And I get to meet them and talk with them. And each of them started explaining me their story, where they grew up, where they come from, how many years. Some of them spent decades in prison, decades in this prison. Now remember, JR is French. His first language is French. Okay. So even JR is a second language learner. English as a second language. Okay. So please don't be judgy. Okay. If we read something he says and it's not perfect English, we're not going to judge. Okay. But I love what he does. It's so beautiful. Okay. Decades in prison. Some of them have been in prison for decades. Machiko, what's a decade? Do you recollect? What is a decade?
What's decade? Decade means 10 years. 10 years.
Some of them has been decades in
Decade.
prison. 10, 20, 30 years. Some of them.
Ah, because decades, the S. So 10.
Yeah, some of them have been in prison for most of their life. Okay. All right. Paragraph 10, Machiko, please.
Sure. And the things is that I told them, I said, look, this photo is nothing. I need you to go in the next room. I'm going to leave a mic there. And
Microphone.
mic. I'm going to leave a mic there. And I want you to record your story from the beginning. I want to understand. You have to talk like if you are throwing a bottle in the ocean. I want to understand where you come from, and then what brought you to make that crime that led you to prison. And if you changed, explain how you changed and why.
Yes, okay. He said, the thing is, I told him, I said, look, the photo is nothing. So he wants their story. He's going to have a picture of them, but he wants their story. He wants them to speak, verbally explain, and record their story. Like you're throwing a bottle in the ocean. What's that? I'm at the ocean, as you can see. I have the beach and the sand behind me. But what is that supposed to mean? Throwing a bottle in the ocean. What? You ever heard of that before? Throwing a bottle in the ocean.
You throwing a bottle in the ocean. That
In the ocean.
inside the letter inside the bottle.
Tell us
Something
about.
like that.
Yes, tell us.
The 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 bottle have the bottle that have letter inside it.
Mhm.
Yes, like that picture.
But can you tell us?
Someone throw the bottle in the motion to tell something to someone.
Yes, to send a message to someone, but what's on the letter? What have they written on the letter?
The prisoner's life,
Prisoner's
history,
life. So,
story.
so let's ask the question. We have two options. Is this literal or is this figurative? Let me
I
ask,
think
they're in prison. So do you think JR is going to give them a bottle and paper and they're going to write their stories on a piece of paper, stick it in the bottle, and then the prisoners are going to throw the bottle in the ocean? Is that what's going to happen?
uh, no, it's figurative.
It's
Figurative. He JR he needs the stories of prisoners to put pictures
to put pictures or to
picture to not put to add pictures.
add pictures where he wants those stories to be similar to the kind of story you would write on a piece of paper, roll up the paper, pop it in a bottle, and throw the bottle in the ocean. That means you bear your heart and your soul. You can. I mean, the who's gonna find the bottle and the letter? Somebody who doesn't know you. So that's just like anonymity,
Yeah.
anonymous. You can say anything. You can say,
Mm.
I killed her. It was me. I did it. This is how it happened. This is why. I regret it or I don't regret it. You can tell the truth. And he's telling them, I need you to be honest, bare your soul, tell your truth, you tell it, just as if you were throwing a bottle in the ocean. Okay, similar kind of, he's invoking those circumstances to tell these prisoners how he wants them to relate their story. When you get in the room and you got that microphone, you tell the whole truth. Don't act like you're talking for the cameras. You're talking and you're bearing your soul. Okay, so he asks them, he says, hey, if you changed, if you have changed since you committed that crime, explain how you changed and explain why.
Wow.
Okay. They all went, some stayed for 10 minutes, some stayed for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Some of them were crying in that place.
Mm.
Then I went back to my studio, and that's what we do. We print strips of paper like a giant puzzle, so we have to combine it together. It's all just paper and glue. And then we combined them by numbers. And then we went back there and we started bringing everybody in the yard and we started pasting everyone from every gang, every race participated. Okay, paragraph number 12, Machiko, please.
Sure. Now the thing is, we are still in supermax security prison. So the guards were like, look, we love you with your paper and stuff, but we are going to count everything you brought in. And we are going to make sure you leave with everything out. So every hour we are going to stop this whole project and make sure there's not one scissors missing, scissors missing, one brush, one, bucket, anything.
So he has these prisoners helping him to paste these pieces of long strips of paper. They have to construct the image. He has the prisoners helping him put it together with scissors and glue and buckets. And the prison officers are like, we like your little art project, but every hour we're gonna have to count all the supplies and make sure nothing is unaccounted for. Nothing is missing. This is a supermax prison. One pair of scissors that can kill 3 people before they even make it back to their cell. Okay, so he's moving through this project. We went through the process. I had planned 2 or 3 days to paste the whole thing. Those guys were so motivated that in literally 2 or 3 hours, we had done it. So I said, wait, stop, guys. They're going to bring you back to your cell. Give me a second. I'm going to try to get some guards to paste with us. So he's trying to get the security officers to help with the project. And they were like, look, we love utopianism and stuff. We love utopianism and stuff. Utopian.
Utopianism.
Utopianism and stuff. But that's where it stops. No. Just give me a second. Okay, they're like, we love your unity and loving the world, but the guards are not going to help you. We're here with our guns. We're here to shoot. If there's a problem, we're watching, we're on guard, we're guards, and we need to shoot people. So we're not going to help you with your art project, all right? He's like, JR's like, wait. Give me a second. Hold on.
But
So,
they have to police. They have to police. And the guards have to police. I
that's why we have the big guns. We're here for shooting, okay? That's our role. That's what we're gonna do. You paste,
oh
glue, and cut, and we're gonna shoot. So JR says, I start going to the guards and I say, hey, do you mind participating? 50 no's. 50 guards say no. One guy said yes. I said, cool, come with me. They're going to show you. And then another guard and another guard. And that's where the real walls were falling down because there's no communication between those guards and the inmates. Go ahead, Machiko, you want it?
it's
Like, no, not really.
sounds a little bit controversial. It sounds a little bit strange because probably basically the guards and prisoner shouldn't shouldn't communicate so closely.
Mhm.
So maybe the gods try to make space physical mentally on purpose.
Mhm.
um,
Create an environment where there's this distance between the prisoners and the guards. How do you feel about them doing this, the guards doing this art project with the inmates? You think that's a good idea?
it's I think it's basically good ideas, but sounds it's how
It's a little dangerous.
yes, sounds a little bit dangerous because I'm not saying the guard and prisoners shouldn't communicate. I'm not saying that, but probably they need to keep space,
Keep some distance.
distance.
Okay, now we just read that some of these guys have been in this prison, Supermax prison, for decades, and they never communicated with the guards. What I really, really find quite interesting, we have some literal and some figurative. So literal means it's real and it's true. So if I say I jumped very high, it means I literally jumped and it was pretty high. But if I say I jumped as high as a tree, or he is as tall as a tree, that's figurative because I really doubt that he is truly as tall as a tree. It's just to suggest that he's quite tall. He's very tall, but not literally as tall as a tree. Now, don't be ridiculous. So here we have some of that. We have some literal, we have some figurative, and I think it's important. Remember, let's look back at our images. JR is a wallpaper man. That's what he calls himself, a wallpaper man. He pastes his artwork, his murals on physical walls in public spaces. So this is a big wall. The wall used to not have any artwork or pictures on it. It was just a wall. And walls have a purpose. Walls are for the purpose of keeping some people in and other people out. They separate. They're to keep some people in and other people out, but mostly they're supposed to keep some people out. Well, in a prison, in a prison,
Oh,
it's really about keeping people in. Like this wall is supposed to keep people out. That's at the border of the United States border between the United States and Mexico. So that's about keeping people out. Prison walls may be about keeping people in, but he starts talking about a figurative wall. He's talking about
oh,
Go ahead, Machiko. What do you think?
I think so. Uh, one of one of what JR wanted to do in this project in prison is to remove the wall between girls and prisoners.
Good
Mm,
job.
I
So now he's talking about a figurative wall. The wall,
figurative walls.
he's taking that wall down because that's what he does. He takes down walls. Okay, in this image, he's trying to remove this wall between kind of disenfranchised immigrants that have low status, low power in society, and the United States, this land of opportunity, the land of opportunity. Okay, he's trying to generate conversation about this wall and kind of remove some of those walls between these two groups of people and our attitudes and our belief systems. Now he's working on another wall. Inside of the prison, there are walls. There's a wall that surrounds the. He said, when as he walked into the prison, trying to get in here to this room where he's going to do this project and talk to these prisoners, he had to go through wall after wall after wall. And when he walked into the room, everybody, he tried to shake their hands and they just looked at him with stone faces. There were other walls, more walls, more walls. And as he said, if you can't get public attention and bring attention to yourself, then please go. That's more walls, more things, and more impediments, more things stopping them. And now all he has is pictures, paper, glue, scissors, and he's using some glue and some strips of paper and a puzzle, like a 5-year-old puzzle that goes by the numbers to remove another wall between the inmates and the guards. Okay, these are figurative walls. The wall is the fact that they don't communicate. So the question is, what impact does that have when you don't communicate with other people? Can that start a war? Can it cure a problem? Not communicating, has it ever solved any problems? All right, so here he says, and that's where the real walls were falling down because there's no communication between those guards and the inmates. Okay, so one guard out of 50 said, okay, I'll glue some paper together with the inmates. And once the one guard said, okay, then another one, then another one, then another one. Sometimes we see him breaking down walls, and sometimes in society, we build up walls. We build walls up. Okay, let's pause here. We've gotten to a pretty good place in this transcript, and we're going to keep going. We're going to continue to have other activities that we will work with to further understand JR's experience in this super max security prison with this project and this glue and this paper and the puzzle by the numbers. And let's see how it ends up, what impact he has on this prison environment, and the lives of these prisoners and the lives of people outside of the prison walls. Okay, so he's taking down a lot of walls, and we're starting to see the impact that his little art project can have. All right, Machiko,
Yes.
thank you so much for co-hosting with me today. You brought so much life and love.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed this time. And this TED Talk seems really interesting. I will watch it.
It's interesting, with just
Yes.
paste and paper to bring down these walls. Okay, as I said, everybody out there, all the beautiful people out there, the transcript is linked in the description below. I encourage you to please click the transcript, read it, click on the vocabulary words, understand the vocabulary better. Click the link for the Quizlet vocabulary activity and practice with the words. Make your English even better. Click the link for the video and watch the video. And turn on the subtitles so you can follow along. You can pause and replay. And furthermore, we're also going to do a WhatsApp discussion thread. So if you want to, and I'll be in the discussion thread, and maybe Machiko will be there, I'll ask her. Fatima from our last class will be there. So in this discussion thread, if you actually want to respond verbally by leaving verbal recordings of yourself responding to questions about this TED Talk, and you want to join and enter into a discussion with myself and other students and speakers that are also practicing and working on their English, then I will leave a link for that as well below. So please join us, join the conversation. Thank you, everybody, for your time, and see you real soon.